Hello, everyone, and welcome to take two of how to deal with someone who is projecting onto you. The reason why it's a take two is because I already recorded this video in this topic and I uploaded it yesterday, and it was an amazing video. But the problem is that I forgot to click on the button that activated this microphone, so it was through my computer audio. But I pushed through and I posted it anyway because it's just a mistake and those things happen. But then I had one of my subscribers reach out to tell me there was some technical glitches in it. And then I realized that the cards and things that I have uploaded through YouTube weren't there either. So I decided to scrap the whole video and start over. So if you feel like you've already seen this video, or wait a minute, she just posted this video yesterday, why is it being posted again under the same title? Is because it's a brand new video with a brand new URL and a brand new way of me presenting it. So I don't question the universe. I just do what I'm told. And I'm going to speak to you guys today about how to handle projection effectively. The reason why you're watching this or have browsed it or searched it or decided to click on this title is because chances are you're dealing with someone who is projecting their ish onto you a lot. A little bit of projection here and there isn't much, but when someone is repeatedly projecting their stuff onto us and we feel like we're drowning in their projections and nothing we say can get them to see it any differently, it can be extremely maddening and frustrating. And I feel you, sister, brother, because I've been there myself and I know exactly what you're feeling. But I'm on the other side of that now, and I'm pretty well versed about how to handle people's projections. And I'm hoping that I'm going to share some things with you all today that is going to make you go, So I invite you to pick up one of these and a pad of paper and take some notes, because what I'm going to share with you today has been highly effective in my own life. So first, I want to start out with what projection is. For those of you who are new here or just really don't have a clear definition of what it is, I'm going to make this very short because there's a lot about projection out in the world today. What I really want to focus on in this video is how to handle the people that are doing it to you. But if you're new to projection, what it is we all have this disowned parts of our psyche. We have these parts way back in our unconscious and subconscious mind that we have not yet brought to the light, to the forefront for healing. And these things are emotions, beliefs, and traits, characteristics about ourselves that are unhealthy or not serving us, that we have not brought forward yet. But the way that these emotions, traits, and beliefs come forward is by our projection. So just like a movie projector is going to project it on some unsuspecting person, which is likely you, which is why you're here, and me too. It'll project onto some unlikely person, and the person who's doing the projection is going to really believe with all their heart and soul, they'd probably swear on it, that it's true. They truly believe they are seeing these traits in you. Because they're projecting it to you, then their brain is going to look for evidence that it is real. So meanwhile, we are the innocent, unsuspecting person, la, 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 just going through life. All of a sudden, somebody slams us with, you're judgmental, or you're jealous, or you're a cheapskate, or you're whatever, fill in the blanks that's happening in your life and relationship. And you're sitting here going, what are you talking about? Not only that, people that project are very unconscious to the fact that they're projecting. A lot of times people want to say that projection is a narcissist trait, and I want you to scratch that. It is not strictly a narcissist trait. Sure, narcissists may do that because they are unhealed, hence their narcissistic traits. However, projection is a human thing. We all do it. I've done it many times in my life. You've done it. Your neighbor's done it. Your parents have done it. Projection is a normal thing because we have these things that are hidden away in our psyche that we are not yet privy to. However, we can heal our projections. And if you're interested in looking at your own projections as what I call an absolutely powerful self-healing tool, then I will post the card right here. Hopefully it'll stick because it didn't stick yesterday. So you guys can watch that video because that's an excellent video. It's one of the main ways that I started to heal pieces and parts inside of myself that I was not aware of. So I want to go back real briefly into my old people-pleasing days. Now, this may be you current time right now, or you might relate to the old people-pleasing days. When I was back in probably my 20s, I would say, and my people-pleasing healing has progressed over time, but back in my 20s, I remember really being fully immersed in the behavior that if somebody called me something or said I was doing something, I owned it. I was like, oh, I'm doing that, because I was such a people pleaser that I would take their word as gospel, as truth. And I would take this thing that they said I was doing, and then I would try to adjust and morph and shift myself and do all these chameleoning acrobats in order to not be that thing, because because I was a people pleaser. I so desperately wanted love, acceptance, and approval and attention that I was like, oh my gosh, they think I'm that. I better go out of my way and overcompensate to make sure that I'm not that. But the problem is, there were many times we're owning stuff that is not ours. And that is why that video that I shared with you is so important, because what you will do is clean up your inner world and get really, really well versed about yourself. You're going to know yourself so well that when homie comes along and starts pointing the finger at you and calling you things and telling you you're this thing, you're immediately going to know, is that yes or is that no? Which brings me into the first point about what I do when somebody projects onto me. Again, being a person who is very self-aware, who has done my work and continues to do my work, I know immediately if someone's projecting onto me. I know myself well. I often say I have a PhD in me. In fact, I mentioned that in my book, The Recovering People Pleaser, a spiritual guide to reclaim your true worth and attract the love you deserve. You can find this on Amazon. I actually say those exact words. I have a PhD in me, because I've become so self-aware of me that I can tell the minute somebody says something that is untrue. So the first thing is to do when somebody starts projecting on you, before you feel the urge to fight back and to defend and start, telling them that it's actually them and they're the person that has this trait, is to go within and ask yourself this question: is this true? Is this me? If you get an immediate no, that this is not you on the regular, okay? Because sometimes maybe we are a cheapskate. Sometimes maybe we are a little stingy. Sometimes we maybe are a little selfish or a little jealous or whatever it might be. But I'm talking about on the regular, okay? If this is not something that's you on the regular, or definitely not as of late, as this person is trying to claim it to be, then don't own it. Do not be tempted to go into the people-pleasing pattern again of, oh my gosh, this person thinks something poorly of me, so I better shift, morph, adjust, and do whatever I need to do in order to please this person. Okay, this is all about reclaiming our personal power here and taking responsibility. Not only do we take responsibility of the traits that are ours, but we also do not take responsibility for the traits that are not ours. The next thing that I highly suggest and recommend is that you take stock of the emotional environment that's happening right now. Many times when people are projecting, they are in a state of fear. They are scared of something way, way deep down inside. They are feeling unloved, unwanted. They're feeling like they're not being protected or safe, or whatever they have going on inside of them. Again, sky's the limit there. But whatever they're feeling is not a good feeling. They're actually in their lower self. So that means there's going to be a heightened state of emotion. It's really, really serving to discern the emotional climate of where this projection is taking place. Is this person in a heightened state where I can actually speak to them, or not speak to them, or in they are a very functional state where I can actually have a conversation with them? It is highly important to understand that anytime someone is activated in a dense, energetic, emotional space, which means the lower emotions, the really hard emotions to feel, or they are in a fear state, they're not listening. Because we're actually biologically wired this way, because we are in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. And when we are in that state, we are in our survival mode. And in survival mode, all other mechanisms, creativity and learning, shut down, because the body's job is to protect itself. So to try to have a conversation with somebody that's in that activated mode is futile. Don't even bother. Resist the urge to immediately defend yourself. What is happening here is not about you. Projection is 100% about the other person. And guess what? You have no power to heal this. This is their job, their duty, what they are going to need to work on in themselves. So to take it personally is to say that what they are projecting, what their brain is doing is about you. It's not about you. You just happen to be the recipient of that projection in this moment. So the next thing to do is if you're in an emotional climate that, it's just not going to go well, then I suggest that you take some space and you designate a time to revisit the conversation later. Let me tell you how successfully this has worked in my life, probably 100% of the time. You want to say something like this: I love you. I really care about how you're feeling right now, and I don't like that you're feeling this way. However, the emotions are really high right now. There's a lot of dense energy in this room, and I know that it's not going to get us anywhere because it hasn't gotten us anywhere in the past. So let's take some time. Let's take a breather. Let's chill out a little bit. And then pick a time, 4 or 5 or 6, 7 o'clock. Let's revisit this. We'll meet at the kitchen table or on the sofa or on the back patio, or let's go for a drive, whatever it might be. And then meet with your person. If your person starts to fight you about this, and this is where the boundaries come in. This is where you say, listen, I'm willing to meet with you later, but I can't do this now. And you have to be willing to remove yourself from the situation. To stand there and allow them to continue to rail you and to emotionally and verbally beat you up is to allow yourself to be abused. So you have to be willing to be protective of yourself and remove yourself from the situation. Even still, if you've had to do that, once things are calmed down, be willing to revisit the situation because it can go in a very healthy way, which leads me to the next step. When you do finally revisit the conversation, remember, it's your person that brought this up. It's your person that's feeling some kind of a way. They have something going on inside of them and they need some airtime. They need to air out these emotions. They need to talk them through. Again, it needs to be done respectfully, but chances are if the emotions have come down, then it's going to be more respectful. Allow them to tell you everything they need to tell you. I've done this many times where I've sat back and I've said, tell me all about this. Tell me everything you're feeling. Tell me everything you think you're seeing. And I sit back. But the most important thing is I sit back with love and compassion in my heart. Because quite frankly, what's happening with projection is this person is struggling. They're really struggling through something right now. They believe it's real. Their brain has told them that it's real, but it's not real. It's actually an illusion. You sit back and you allow them to speak. And once it appears like they are finished, then say, tell me more. Is there anything else that you want to tell me? And allow them to continue to speak and to speak and to speak as long as they stay on this subject. And then when you feel or they feel like they are what I call complete, when they've drained everything out of them, then I would say, okay, here's what I'm hearing. Restate it back to them. You think this is what's happening. This is what you believe to be true. Now, let me tell you something. Already in the slowing down of this, you take the emotions out of it and you've slowed down the whole process. Something interesting happens. Sometimes it starts to dawn on them before you even have a conversation and share your piece because they start to see that it's really not true. But if they haven't, after they have their piece and they feel, you say, do you feel complete in what you've shared? Then you say, I would like to share my piece now. Would you be willing to hear what I have to say about this? Now, this is someone who cares about the relationship. Chances are they're going to say yes. And again, keep emotions out of it, calm, cool, collected space, and then you share your piece. And likely, if they're seeing this about you and the opposite is true, when you start to talk about it and give examples about how this is just not even a thing, I mean, some of the things that people have projected onto me were downright ludicrous, like ridiculously ludicrous, where I was like, what? However, I knew that it was a projection, so I sat in it and I allowed them to be complete with it. But then when I brought the truth forward and I gave them examples of why what they were saying was not true and what I was saying is true, then something clicked inside of each one of those individuals where they were like, wow, I never saw it that way. There's a way to navigate through projection of someone else very, very effectively, but it's going to require your consciousness. It's going to require you slowing down, and it's going to require you not jumping to defend and fight back with them. But guess what, guys? I did it, and I know that you can do it. It's just going to take some conscious, concerted effort. If you care about the relationship and you're really tired of this happening, It's definitely worth the effort. So if you're new here and you enjoyed what you heard here today, I would also like to let you know that I talk about all things about people-pleasing recovery, wrote the book on it. I talk about healing limiting beliefs. I talk about shame and unworthiness recovery. I talk about how to deal with difficult, toxic, or narcissistic individuals, how to set and maintain healthy boundaries. And I'm all about the woo, intuition, spirituality, law of attraction, and energy. So if these things sound interesting to you and within your area of interest, then I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. And everybody, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to share with someone you love and to comment below, because I absolutely love to read your comments. So thank you all for listening. And until next time, remember, you matter. Now go love yourself.